Any objection, let me know. So I think Aishwarya and Kirti may join a little later. But I can start because I have calls lined up later.
Okay, sir.
So I'm going to talk about the application called Vanarai. And if you are based in Pune for whatever time, you might have heard about this. This was started by the prominent political leader Mohan Dharia in maybe 70s and 80s. So this organization has been running for about 40 years now. And they started with the social cause goal to plant the trees all over Maharashtra or maybe all over India, etc. And then later on, they evolved into doing a lot of other activities also. Like right now, their focus is on water as well. So they help the remote areas of Maharashtra, rural areas, to get the water ability. And so their vision is to get the village people back to village. Those, they are migrating to cities for their day-to-day kind of livelihood. So they want to change that and uh, make them basically live their daily life, earning locally, doing farming. So, so that is their motto right now, and they have grown substantially. They probably have about 40 plus projects running right now, and then maybe 20 or 25 in the running. So they are pretty big. They could get the Salesforce scheme called as non-profit Salesforce platform, NPSP. That is what the acronym stands for. And we could get them enrolled into that program, which allows the non-profits to get 10 free licenses of Salesforce. And so we avail those 10 free licenses, model their different users. So we'll see as we go ahead. So I'm going to quickly start a demonstration of what we have built so far. Do you have any questions? Have any of you heard of Vanarai before, or this is the first time you are hearing? Any questions you can ask? Yes, I'm going to begin sharing my screen with this. So let me know once you start seeing my screen. So I'm going to log in. So because of these proper licenses and everything, the difference between LCMS and Vanarai is that we have a complete development kind of ecosystem, you can say, where we have the production box definitely, which is similar to what we are using for LCMS, which is the free org. But along with this production org, we also got a bunch of sandboxes, and that basically helps us build the entire development process. Is DLC, software development uh, life cycle, whatever. So that we are able to build by creating different sandboxes. Few are development sandboxes. One is the QA testing, and then we migrate everything to the production. So because of this, we also have the extra headache of migrating things from one org to the other org. So we use what is typically known as change sets. So we get to do that in this project. So I'm going to log in to our test org. So because we have this environment, I'm going to the test.salesforce.com. Otherwise, typically you would go to login.salesforce.com. So I'm hoping that I still have those credentials with me somewhere. If you see Vanarai somewhere, here it is. So this is another way to identify. This is the test sandbox login is typically it will be appended by the sandbox name or something. So you see that dot vdev1, that is a hint that this is a sandbox login. Otherwise, the production or login would be only up to onerai.org. So again, this is just a username. It is, although it is in the email format, it has no linkage to any existing or accurate email as such. So it is just used as a user ID. So let's hope I can get logged into this. We keep changing the passwords. Okay, looks like I'm in. Do you see this Zoom taskbar also on the screen? I can move it aside. Maybe I can move it up. Okay. So there is no best place to put it, but okay. So there are a bunch of pop-ups. I don't know where are they coming from. Okay, so I think you're seeing most of the screen. So what you can see is this is the standard Salesforce login, and we can see that we are into a specific application called Vanarai. This is the name of that application, Vanarai execution. And we why I'm inviting you to see this demo is because we are starting another module called pre-execution. And for that, we'll be creating another application similar to this. So we are going to use the same ecosystem of SDLC, same similar. We can create maybe a few other sandboxes, but we will basically create an application. And you can launch an application by clicking these dot matrix. You can go to a specific custom object also by typing the object name, or you can select the application. Typically, you want to go into Sales Cloud. That's the most favorite usually. I don't know why sales is not coming up. Let's try opportunity, which is the specific object. Yeah. So there are bunch of matching for opportunity search. Anyway, so we are into this app, and what I want to drive you through is so the idea of this application is, the way Vanarai functions is they basically study different rural areas. The team is going across interiors of Maharashtra, studying various geographies and taking some initial study whereby they say that okay, in this area people are requiring this kind of a water need is there, or any other plantation needs are there, or any other need. So they assess what the local people are really looking for, and mostly they are focusing on water enhancements right now. And they study the geography contours. Is that a hilly area? Is it a plain area? What kind of soil it is? A lot of geographical studies done. And then they come up with the result, which is called the project, that this kind of project can be executed. So it can be composed of, maybe there are uh, 10s or 20 shettalas or water storage facilities that can be created at villages A, B, C, D. So they focus usually on a taluka, and within that taluka, which all villages can be done, what kind of things. So they create a project out of this. So the central theme that we start with is the project creation. And the next module they are asking us to do is to get onboarded everything digital transformation of what all things are involved in these project creation, and they call this as a pre-acquisition phase. So this is even before they start floating around these projects for getting funding, etc. So that is called the pre-acquisition. And then comes the acquisition phase. And then after that, we come to the execution phase. That is what you're looking at. So I'll probably try to look for. So already we have created one application pre-acquisition. So similarly, there will be an acquisition which we probably have not created a separate application as such. So we'll stick to this application and I'll try to show as much as possible. Most of the things that are there in the acquisition are probably available in Vanarai execution. Probably something more is added. So there is a project that is the central theme of everything, and I'll probably take you to the project to start with. What is this project and how does it look like? There are various documentation, and I'll share you that Google Drive also. Why I don't see the project. I think it's not part of the. So let me go to the cells. Let's do this view all. Vanarai, let's go to Vanarai. Maybe that's the acquisition phase. So we have basically 4 different phases identified. Pre-acquisition, acquisition. Acquisition means we are acquiring the funding companies. That's why it is called acquisition. Pre-acquisition is where we are creating the projects for which we will try to get funding. Then execution is once the funding is there to a program, then actual execution, implementation happens in execution phase. And then after execution, there is a hand-holding phase that where they try to keep in touch with the villagers, even if the project is done. They get some feedbacks time to time, and they keep updating the people that Vanarai has done this, get some goodwill. And the company who has funded also is funding there because their employees are coming from that area, so they want to build that goodwill. So that handholding phase is the last phase that we will handle. So right now we are pretty much active in acquisition and execution. We'll be starting pre-acquisition. That's where I want your involvement a little more. So here, so here you can see that. So now you can see the application is basically collection of tabs. Since we were in the execution where the programs are not of relevance, we did not add programs tab there. But in the Vanarai app, which is basically acquisition phase, we can rename it as Vanarai acquisition. So here you can see the program tab. So if you look at any, so they have basically different types of programs. And that's what you see here as category, new cluster program, special focus, blah, blah, blah. So what I will do is probably just show you one existing and we'll try to create a new one. Okay. So here we are saying this is a watershed demo kind of program, which is of category new cluster program. And if you look at program category pick list, so we have all these different types of projects that can be created. And they are linked basically to what they also call as thematic area. I'm sure thematic area is also somewhere here. So thematic area is the core core kind of you can say it could be live feed, or it could be about water harvesting or some such thing. So these are the core areas which are covered in this kind of a project, and each type category of project can basically be assigned, is predefined to be covering certain thematic areas. So that's the association kind of thing. You'll see bunch of basic attributes like duration, etc., and the amount of estimated funding required for this project. So how do they come up with this number is little involved. So basically they talk about programs, subprograms, then they also talk about thematic areas. So if you look at all the related objects list, you will see subprograms. Subprograms can span over different villages in taluka. A program is associated with specific taluka, as you can see here. Then it also has which villages it is covering. And then this program instance is basically something which can ignore now. But this is the program thematic area junction object, which connects thematic areas to programs, etc. And then for each such program, we create opportunity for which we go out to get the funding. So program in a way is kind of a master. So we keep preparing all these bunch of programs that Vanarai is ready either to get start looking for funding or which are already in progress and are in execution phase. So with that, the program is that way quite simplistic entity. It has bunch of attributes, simple like description, duration, funding, and then if let me try, might be able to show you or Google Drive. Okay. No, I think I'll have to log into something else. Ah, Urvi. Yes. Hmm. Hmm. 4ला मला अवघड आहे मग उद्याच. मग यशजी नाही उद्याच हवे पण. नाही आज अवघड आहे मला. उद्याच करायला लागेल. Yeah. Yeah. So this is the Gmail account we created for Vanarai specifically. So all the kind of verification codes or any other communication on the sandbox happens here. You can see this QA support, finish resetting your Salesforce password. Somebody tried to change the password, the email will come here. So why I'm coming here is basically I want to show you the drive associated with this. So which has bunch of earlier recordings, which you can see as the time permits or whenever you have time. But you'll see bunch of things here specific to whatever. So you can see some demo call for Vanarai, blah, blah, blah. So I don't know, this doesn't seem to be very well organized, but there are some folders here. So if you go to my drive, so yeah, so you can see a little more organized stuff here instead of this home. If you go to my drive, there are execution phase specific things. Then pre-acquisition is something you should probably look at. Then this is Vanarai is basically about the acquisition phase. And then this is Sagar Dharia is practically heading that entity. So he had shared a couple of things. So you can see bunch of documents, etc. But let's go to pre-acquisition phase. So we have been shared just one Excel where in one meeting he elaborated that there are basically step 2, step 3, and we right now our focus is step 1, which is basically we are collecting a set of documents. So you are probably now getting the feel of we do bunch of document upload, that UI, LCMS. I don't know if it is doing any such thing, but we'll show you a couple of other applications where this is a very standard thing we do, file uploads, and there are nicer, better UIs to do that, checkboxes to automatically tick when the file is uploaded. All that we'll be using here. So it's essentially about uploading different files. So that's the scope of this step 1. Then there will be step 2 and step 3, which we want to complete. Typically, we say 2 months of timeline. We want to finish this by March, definitely. So this is where you'll find the material for your need, and I'll share you the required things. But if you look at pre-acquisition phase, oh, sorry, not pre-acquisition, acquisition. Vanarai is acquisition, basically. So you can see a bunch of documents you will relate to what we are seeing now. So there are a bunch of recordings here which you can see, which explains how the application flow goes from point A
Sir,
to point B.
sorry to disturb. Aishwarya want to in. You have to admit her.
Yeah, let me add. Thanks.
Welcome.
Surbi wants to join. Aditi is also joining. Okay, so all those who are joining a little late, we are recording this call, so you'll get the opportunity to hear what we said before. But we are talking about Vanarai application, not LCMS. And I was just explaining there 4 phases, and acquisition phase is what we started with, which basically asks for funding, which is a typical CSR application from Salesforce perspective. And we are using that Salesforce NPSP, which is the free package given for along with 10 free licenses for non-profit companies, under which Vanarai was easily accepted because of their history and documentation, legal as well as governmental documentation. So anyway, so there are some recordings you can take a look later for this acquisition. So Vanarai, read it as Vanarai is same as acquisition phase. Even in the application you saw, we named it Vanarai. So that was the first module we started with. And you can see bunch of, if you look at maybe training, what does training have? So this was prepared for them to understand how the application works. So maybe this may be a good place for you all to go through 1, 2, 3, 4 recordings other than what we are talking about. So what we are discussing right now will be helpful for you to understand what is discussed in all these. So I will share you this drive in order so that you can start understanding what is there. But your basic work will be for now pre-acquisition phase, where we create these programs, then later we push these programs to get fundings. And that's what I'll kind of quickly walk you through. I have a cutoff at 3, so we still have, and then Zoom will cut out even before that. So any questions here? Yeah, you just need to understand there are 4 phases and try to understand what are the basic purpose of these 4 phases of the entire Vanarai project. If I'm going too fast, ask me to go slow. So we logged into the org, and then we are into the acquisition phase, which is the Vanarai again. And we started looking at the program. So this is the program simple structure. And I'll try to maybe, if you want to say, create a new one. So I'll go and click new. And you can, of course, try doing whatever, creating. Let's call it. So first program of 2024, program state. So which state? They cover 3 states right now. So we'll go with Maharashtra. Status, land. So typically in the pre-acquisition, we'll start with Yeah, I mean, it will be much before even the program is created. But this is from the point of view of acquisition phase. So this typically will start with planned status. And you can see that these are the stages we'll see. Then it will be either partially funded or fully funded. And then these are the different stages we'll push this program through. So this, you can see, it is basically targeted to get the funding for this program. Then program category you saw, these are basically related to the thematic areas, but you can go with, I think our favorite was new cluster, or we also used watershed quite a lot, because another similar NGO was very active on watershed projects. So they wanted, they had a complete template of how the watershed project is done, etc. Then targeted population, blah, blah, blah. You can put whatever you want. So this is based on what they told us to do. So we'll pick some district and taluka. So we'll put district, which will be, which one you want, Aurangabad, maybe. Let's go for something other than Pune. And then it shows you the taluka places there. So let's go for Vijapur. And then, so these are all read-only things. So as we keep populating things, it will start creating the program. So we'll put tentative start date as January, or let's put it February 1st. And we plan to finish it. Some programs are only 3 months, some are maybe 3 years. So we can say this is, let's make it 1 year. Okay. So I'm just going to save this. I hope I don't get any errors. Okay, so we have created our program. Then you can start adding these related objects, subprograms. So do you want to create subprograms out of it? Why we need that is because sometimes the companies say, no, we don't have budget to fund your entire program. So they can customize this into smaller chunks, like 3 months each. So instead of the entire 1 year program, they can fund one part of it, which may be just 3 months or something. So if we create one subprogram out of this, and this is where you'll see how the budgeting gets calculated. So I'll say 2022 subprogram 1. And now here you can say that this is directly linked to the thematic areas. At the program level, we did not, because program is kind of aggregation of subprograms. So whatever you put in subprograms gets accumulated into the program. So your basic building block is subprogram. So I'm going to say this covers thematic areas, soil and water, and it also covers health and sanitation. So these are the core areas in which the actual execution happens. That's what they call as thematic areas. So you can call them as subsections, or specific skills are tied to the kind of thematic area. So that kind of skill sets will be required with the team that um, that is based on these thematic areas. So you'll need experts in these skill sets. So I'm going to save this, and maybe I'll create one more. And this one I'll say education and watershed. Since we picked watershed, let's put watershed somewhere. So I just, in the minimum, created 2 subprograms out of it. I can add some more details, I think. So each subprogram is again now linked to durations and costs. So that is how the total cost gets built. And that's what I'll illustrate and then move on. So I'll create the subprograms, duration and cost factors. So this I'm say going to be happening in 2024. I'm going to say this is 3 lakhs. Okay, some programs go into crores, that's possible. Status is open right now, of course. And program duration is, I'm going to put less than 3 months. So I have built this. Let us, okay, the value outside of a valid range of numeric field, 2024. Oh, okay. So here I think, so it says how many years it is going to. So I'm going to put 0 because I'm selecting only 3 months of duration. So it is not the year as in 2024, but how many years? So we should correct that label maybe. So I hope it saves. Okay. So now if you see that I have associated this program, added some location, sorry, thematic areas and cost. I can even add which areas it is going to cover, etc. But now if I go to this program now, so you'll see that its cost is getting auto-calculated based on the subprogram. So if I add the cost for subprogram 2, it will sum up here and all that will pile up here. So this is how we do this program creation. So once the program is mature, etc., so it goes through what we call as the funding process. Okay, so all this is already available. So when the acquisition phase is kicking off, the programs are ready. I just showed you just to understand that how do you create a program. So this will be created in the pre-acquisition programs, and all the list of programs will be available to be used to start getting the funding. So they're what they call as CSR representatives. They start talking to all the companies. They start talking about, we have these programs, and would you like to fund one of it? And in fact, the system guides the CSR representatives of Vanarai to show the correct programs based on what the company is looking for. So there may be restrictions on how much they can fund. They may have a preferred area. They want to fund only projects in Nashik, not in Aurangabad. So this program will not even be shown to them. So they collect all such information, and that's what happens in that acquisition phase, where this basically CSR type of application. So CSR, the Salesforce is famous for CSR, where you basically start with a lead, who is the person from the company who is interested to do business with you. And then we go through some maturity of the lead, then we convert the lead. Then after conversion, we create the opportunity where the project is now finalized. And then a lot of other things, mostly of the execution type, will proceed from opportunity. So this lead progression up to creating an opportunity, finalizing the contract, etc., happens in this CSR phase, which is the acquisition phase for our project. So I think right now our meeting may get closed. There is somebody trying to join now. Surbi, she tried to rejoin. So we may stop here and I'll float another link and we can continue there. Okay. So luckily my 3 o'clock call is cancelled, so we can continue a little more. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So I'll stop this meeting now because we are at the right point, and then give you another link.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Any questions before I close?
No.
Okay, then I'll kill this meeting. Give me 2-3 minutes because it saves the recording before I can start a new meeting. That takes some time. Okay, see you in the new meeting then.
Okay, sir.